أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله. It was the day of Friday today, the day that we remember Imam Zaman, the Imam of the age. And I don't know how your day went, but many throughout the Shia world, Muslim world, they were remembering their Imam, and they were remembering and making dua that he comes back. So the day of Friday is a day that we remember the Imam of the age. Even though every day we should remember him, we shouldn't be of the ghafileen, those that forget him. Last week we spoke about this important topic, how to prepare ourselves for the Imam, how to be ready for him. And we said that the most important duty we have towards the Imam is ma'rifat, the knowledge. We need to know the Imam. And this comes about by knowledge that we study, and it comes from a relationship that we have, a knowledge of presence that we have of the Holy Imam, that our hearts become close to his heart and we begin to know him. We gave the story of the Yemen, brothers from Yemen, that they came to the Prophet of Islam and they wanted to know who is the successor of Prophet Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And he had them go through the lines of people that were praying without telling them specific detail of who the successor was. And they came across a man who they said, my knees would not allow me to go forward with shake, our feet would not move forward, as if he was our father. And they asked, is this him? Is this the successor? Is this your successor? And the Prophet of Islam confirmed this. So they understood Imam Ali alayhi salam, not knowing who he was or how he looked like, but just from their heart, because they were pious worshippers. And they became later on companions of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and they became shaheed in the battle of Siffin. So yes, we have an opportunity to know the Imam with the heart, but not any heart. It takes a heart that is purified, a heart that is protected, a heart that is full of light and nur. That is why they call this al-ma'rifa al-imam, or ma'rifatul imam bin nuraniyah. Knowing the Imam through light, knowing the Imam through nur. What is one of the best ways for us to develop this nur and light? One of the best ways is going to the sources of light. And Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are anwar, they were light, as we read in Ziyad Jama', they were light before creation. And God put minnat, and God bestowed favor upon us and brought the family, the Prophet and his family to this world for us. They were anwar, they were light and nur. So a person that goes and visits this light, this nur, they will get nur and light. Everything about Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam Hussein alayhi salam is light, is nur. That is why we are so attracted to him. When a person develops and becomes like a bee, a person is either like a bee or is like a fly. What does a bee get attracted to? Don't tell me honey, because that's what they make, flowers. And what does a fly get attracted to? Smelly things, trash. So when a person becomes like a bee, they get attracted to those things that are actually good in Allah's eyes. They have fragrance, they have nur, they have light. So you brothers and sisters, you are of the bees of God's creation, because you have come for Sayyid al-Shuhada's Muharram and Safar. For you, this is exciting. For you, this is relaxation. For you, this is calmness. For you, this is excitement. For you, this is grief, but it is sweet at the same time. For you, this is one of the best feelings that you have. Many other people in this country, in this world, they would rather be somewhere else Friday night. They'd rather be somewhere else this Labor Day weekend because they're attracted to the world, to the dunya. So, one thing we need to be grateful that God has made us like this attribute because it really wasn't up to us. I mean, yes, Allah, depending on if a person qualifies or not for it because of his wisdom and hikmah, gives it to us. But He does inshirahul qalb. He opens our heart. Can you open your own heart to Islam? No. Allah does this. God does this. We live in a society that we are a minority inside a minority. And we have been blessed with this religion, with being able to perform salat where everyone else is not doing salat. We have been blessed to love Imam Hussein and to cry for Imam Hussein. Others forget about Imam Hussein. They say it's 1400 years ago. But for us, every day, that fire that burns inside us becomes stronger. Imam Ali alayhi salam beautifully says, don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the numbers in Sermon 201, Nahj al-Balagha. Ya ayyuhan nas, la tastawhishu fi tariq al-huda liqillati ahli. O people, do not be desolate at the small numbers of those who follow the right path. فَإِنَّ النَّاسَ قَدْ اجْتَمَعُوا عَلَى مَائِدَةٍ. Because people, they gather around table, they gather around food, they get around the world. A world that is shiba'uha qasir, a world that will not fulfill you. A world which is like salt water, the other imams say. What happens when a person drinks salt water and is thirsty? It just makes them thirstier. It doesn't solve anything. Don't be worried about the numbers because people are attracted to the world, the dunya. Don't worry about numbers. Imam Ali alayhi salam Nahj al-Balagha says, وَجُوءَهَا طَوِيلٌ. Even this world though, this table they're going over has thirst and hunger inside it. It doesn't fulfill anything. So what is the path to nur and light? Visiting the imams, going to them. And this is one way that we can change our outlook and our view of ziyarat and visitation of imams. Some people, they view visitation, some maybe congressmen or people in the parliament or people inside Islamic countries, they unfortunately sometimes they view it as tourism. They go, oh, it's good, mashallah, we have tourists this year, they're going to spend their money. They look at it as an economic benefit. But are the zawar and the visitors of the infallibles a source of income viewed as just a monetary benefit? Or is there something greater than ziyarah? Many people, they don't understand. And when they don't understand, they question, why do you spend so much for the gold? Why do you spend so much for the shrines? Why don't you give this money to the poor instead? These are questions that people have. All of this, we have answers for all of it. All of this goes to the fact that they don't understand what we are doing. They don't understand that our salvation is there. They don't understand that our guidance is there. They don't understand this is just like a university that spends billions of dollars to educate people. This is a university that is training and educating people. They don't know that. And therefore, these holy people that are there, we need to have a respect and we need to have shrines. The people that they come for them, they are honored and they can sit down and concentrate when they do ziyarah. Everything has its own place. Yes, we need to help the poor. Yes, but immediately the first question they say is, for example, Hajj. Why do they go to Hajj so much? Well, why don't we limit other expenditures? Why always Hajj? Hajj is the first thing they attack. Ziyarah is the first thing. Limit other things we spend and give to the poor. Why this? We have material needs and spiritual needs. Just like you have a need for food for yourselves, you have to take care of yourself. Also, we have spiritual needs. You need to, once in a while, the hadith says, go and visit the imams. Spend money. Yes, at the same time, if you can do both, that is the best, that you think of the poor, you help the poor. But I will tell you this, and I promise you this, if you visit Ahlul Bayt, you'll be more inclined to help the poor because you are learning from those that had marks on their shoulders. At night, they would take provisions for the poor. You are visiting them. You're visiting people that the verse of It'am happened. You're visiting Imam Hussein that as a child, he gave his own food to the poor while fasting. His mother did not make him. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were at a young age. Were at a young age, nobody made them. And actually, they are so generous. When one person comes, Quran has one person. But Ahlul Bayt, all of them gave their food. One would be enough. Say one gives their food, right? In ayah, the verse of It'am. But all of them decided to be together, and all of them gave their food to that one person. Another night comes. Again, they're fasting, and they don't have food, and all of them give their food again. Children, they gave their food. All of them gave their food together. So you are learning, you're visiting such a person. So when you go back to your country, when you go back to your land, you will be more generous. They don't get this, that we are learning how to take Mir al Mu'mineen, who is famous for taking care of the orphans. And we believe that nobody can really love the Imams without starting to become like them. So visiting the shrines of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is nur and light. And this is what changes us. It is a spiritual journey. A spiritual journey that it crosses wilayat and authority of Ahlul Bayt, but ends where? With God subhanahu wa ta'ala. The maqsad and the destination is God. Just how salat and prayer is a mi'raj, will take you towards God. Ziyarat also is a mi'raj for us and will take us towards God. The narrations mention this, that the ziyarat in this hadith, it is of Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam. The ziyarat of the eighth Imam says, whoever visits him as if he has visited God in his arsh, in his throne. Meaning a person that visits Ali ibn Musa Rida in Mashhad has visited God, has that capability, a kamil, a tamam ziyarat. Not a ziyarat that we're fighting with everyone and we're just thinking for souvenirs and gifts, are always in the market, and then now the billah someone does haram. Not batal ziyarat, not ziyarat that's void. A good ziyarat, an accepted. See, you have salat that's accepted and is good and has effect. The ziyarat that has that effect. And it takes someone towards Allah. It is maybe one of the best muqarribs that we have. Best way to reach God is ziyarat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Let me read the tradition for you. The tradition has this, and of course also ziyarat of Sayyid al-Shuhada in the same way. You see that it says Imam Qadhim alayhi salam about his son. If you want to look about the Fada'il, I'll tell you a book to read, Kamil al-Ziyarat of Ibn Khulaway. Read this book, it's translated in English. Kamil al-Ziyarat. Good book, and the sources are very good. It's an old book, over 1,000 years old. He has gathered, Ibn Khulaway gathered the different ziyarats and the reward of the ziyarah. In this hadith, it mentioned this, Imam Qadhim said, Man zara qabla waladi, Ali kana lahu inda Allah ka sab'ina hajj. And the narrator is surprised. He says, whoever visits my son Ali, Ali is still alive. It's Imam Qadhim alayhi salam is giving the narration. Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida is alive still. Whoever visits my son Ali, he has 70 hajj. The narrator doesn't know. Gets confused. 70 hajj. What does that mean, 70 hajj? And it says hajj mabrura, good hajj, accepted hajj. If somebody lives 70 years, you have to live longer to have hajj, to have taklif. So imagine 80, 90, to have 70 years of hajj, and every year you go to hajj, that's on one side. But visiting Ali ibn Musa Rida is equal to that. 70 years, he's confused. And then in this you understand, he says, as if someone who has visited Allah in his shrine, in Allah in his throne. Brother and sister, what we understand is the power of ziyarah. Not that we like to compare things, but the entire purpose of ziyarah, the entire purpose of Hajj is to get close to Allah, right? Is get to close to Allah. But even Hajj has that condition. And I'm not saying that a person goes to visit Imam Rida doesn't need to go to Hajj. They need to do the wajib Hajj, of course. It's wajib. But we're understanding the importance of going all the time to do ziyarah, that the Imams are giving for us importance. Yes, Hajj is important, Umrah is important, all of it. But not to forget the ziyarat of the shrines, because it has that ability to change somebody, because this is where Kamaluddin is. This is where the perfection of religion is. This is where Tamamun Ni'mah is. This is where the completion of God's favor is. And nothing can take us higher than going to the shrine. Why? Because that shrine is the actual Imam is there. The spirit of the Imam is there. Our real life is the spirit. You're going to the Imam and asking him to grab my hand. You know, sometimes I tell people, they go and I say, grab my hand. Tell the Imam when you visit them, grab my hand. Then I tell them at the same time that you have already grabbed my hand, or else I wouldn't be here. The Imam has already taken you. So you reach Tawheed by this medium of wilayah. You reach God by this medium, and this is one of the best ways, we said, to purify the soul, is by visiting in the visitation of Imams, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Rida alayhi salam, all our Imams. Now here there's something very interesting, and not to compare, but the same hadith says this. Many people haven't heard this part. فَيَقْعَدُ مَعَنَا مَنْ زَارَ قُبُورَ الْأَئِمَّةِ. And whoever visits the shrines of the Imams will be with us, will sit with us. إِلَّا أَنَّ أَعْلَاهُمْ دَرَجَةً وَأَقْرَبَهُمْ حَبْوَةً. But in terms of position, every person that visits the Imam, they'll have high position. But in terms of rank, and the closest is who, you think, from all the Imams? Is those that visit Zawar Qabr Waladi Ali. Whoever visits my son Ali. Says, whoever visits all the Imams, they will sit with us. But the highest in position, whoever visits Ali ibn Musa Rida. The Zawar of Ali ibn Musa Rida. And that's why it's, some say it is, maybe you could say afdal ziyarat. You can say, I don't want to compare. Yes, the visitors say the shuhada in Arafah might be different. So this is maybe in normal times. But in this tradition, very clearly it says, those that understand Arabic, إِلَّا أَنَّ أَعْلَاهُمْ دَرَجَةً وَأَقْرَبَهُمْ حَبْوَةً زُوَّارَ قَبْرِ وَلَدِ عَلِي. Whoever visits my son has the highest positions. There was a person, they say, that he used to visit Ali ibn Musa Rida, maybe from Iraq, I believe, every month. Every month he would take the flight from Iraq. And there's shrines there. You say, okay, there's so many shrines in Iraq. He would come and fly all the way. And he became famous. Whoever wanted to go to Mashhad would go with him, because every month he's gone. They say he died and they saw him. And they asked him this. They said, so many times you visited Ali ibn Musa Rida. What did he do for you? And then he came in the dream and said that immediately when I died, immediately he came to my grave and said, I visited me. And you know, when the Imam visits, it's not a normal visitation. The punishment stops. If there is punishment, anything that's discomfort for us stops. And he came and visited me. And he says, I still owe you 72 more visitations. Meaning every time you came to visit me, I am returning your visitation. So this is the power that in the Akhirat, you see the potential in ziyarah. Do you want each time that you visit the Imams for them to visit you back? Do you even think that if you visit them, they won't visit you back? It's normal, it's nice. When someone you go and visit them, it's part of mannerisms to visit them back. You have gone all the way there to visit them. You don't think they will visit you back? One of the students of one of the Maraja, sorry, one of the teachers of one of our great scholars, he was a person that really loved the Imams of worship. Like, is by the name of Ayatollah Habibullah Gulpaigani. And he was in Najaf for many years and would visit Imam Ali alayhi salam shrine every day. Every day he would visit. Then when he moved to Mashhad, he would visit the shrine of Imam Rida every day. And now he's sick. They say he's sick. And he asks Imam Rida this. He would go sometimes, the doors would be closed. It's not like now that it's 24 hours open. It was closed sometimes. And he would pray his Salat Layl outside the doors. And when he would do ruku, sometimes snow would go on top of his back for his long bowing. So he says to the Imam, he's sick, he has surgery. He says that I visited you and your grandfather Ali alayhi salam, Imam Ali, for so many years, say 30 years, 40 years there. Why don't you come one time and visit me? Why don't you come? I've come to visit you. And they say that Imam Rida alayhi salam came to him and gave him a flower, the flower. And when he woke up, he was healed. He didn't need anything. But what was more amazing than this, and he became famous for this, was that whoever's hand he touched would get cured. Whoever's hand he touched would get cured. Not only was he cured, but his hand. Later on, they say that there's people in line for him to help because he was famous for this. Later on, he would have to, they say, rub more and more and more. And they'd say that it's because of shaking hands with sinners. It caused the effect to be less. So if we were to change the way we viewed ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, to understand that this is one of the best ways for us to get close to God, you're strengthening that al-ilm al-huduri, knowledge by presence. You're getting to know the Imam not with studying, even though studying is good. You're getting to know and identifying the Imam personally. Personally, there's a personal relationship that opens up and that nur happens. I don't know about you, but I'm sure, maybe if I ask you this question, when was the period in your life that you felt the closest to God? Has it been in the shrines of Ahlul Bayt that you cried, say, for Imam Hussein in Karbala so much? You cried for the Shuhada in Karbala. Your heart completely broke. And then you connected to God the most. Was it then? Or when you went to Mashhad? Inshallah, if those that have not gone, inshallah, Allah will give them the chance to do ziyarah. Is it when you're in the shrine of Ali ibn Musa Rida and your heart broke and you felt the Imam, you connected to him, and you began to cry and cry and cry? It has this ability. Just look, when you just visit. Allama Tabatabai mentioned from him, they asked, some of the children of Imams, we don't know if they're true or not Imam Zadehs. Some of them we don't know because it's listed. The main ones we know, but some of them we don't know. Are they true Imam Zadehs or not? He says, go there and see how your heart feels. How do you feel when you're there? If you feel different there, then know there's somebody important buried there. This is all knowledge by presence, by the heart. And this is the first step, that if you want to know the Imam through the heart, know the Imam of the age through the heart, know the other Imams through their shrines as well. Practice developing this detailed knowledge of each individual Imam, each individual, not general. Each one, you begin to have a relationship with your heart. You begin to know them better. But it takes pious heart. It takes someone that does not sin. It takes someone that can connect. So number one thing that helps us with this connection to the Imam of the age is ziyarat. And the first step, we said, ziyarat takes you towards God, to the arsh. It's this, has that capability. The second thing in hadith that mentions about ziyarat and visitation of Imams is that we have given allegiance in the other world. Before we were created, the hadith says we were alive thousands of years before creation. That, for example, I'm not 40 years old or 42 years old. I am 2042 years old. You know, so if you say this, people won't believe you. They think I just color my beard or something. But no, I'm 2042 years. Why? 2,000 years in the other world. We had a life. This will help us to understand sometimes the children, and we'll mention the children of the Imams. When you cry for Hazrat Ali Asghar, cry for Sayyida Ruqayya. Today, some say today was her martyrdom of Lady Ruqayya, the daughter of Imam Hussein, 3 years old in Sham. They were tested and tried in the other world. They had that existence in the other world. They had a high position in the other world. Don't look and say, why are you just connecting from a child, a 6-month-old baby? That's not normal, a normal child. Prophet Isa salam spoke when he was in the cradle because Isa salam was Isa in the other realm. So spirits are tested, and you see in the ziyarat of Lady Fatima salam that you talk about the lady that was tested before tested in this world. Everyone wonders why, how is she tested before being tested? So in the other world, we had an existence, we were tested. There was allegiance. And God asked us, am I not your Lord? And we said, Bala. We said, yes. We already accepted. It's too late, by the way. You already accepted it. And when you accept God as your Lord, you accept the prophets as his messengers. And you accept the Imams as the successors. Now we might have forgotten, or it has been far, but this has already been done. In the other realm, the Shia, the Muslims, followers of Ahlul Bayt, has already given allegiance. So what happens when you do ziyarat of the Imam that you gave allegiance to before in the other world? It feels, one, very natural. Two, you're renewing that allegiance to them. Look at the tradition. سمعت الرضا عليه السلام in Al-Kafi. The other tradition was in Al-Kafi too. يقول إن لكل إمام أحدا في عنق أوليائه وشيعته. Every Imam has a covenant, a promise on the neck of every Shia. The Imams have already had this covenant on us. And you see, Dua Ahd, for example, in the mornings you do to Imam Zaman, today I'm going to do tajdeed of this Ahd. I'm going to renew this Ahd because I already gave it in the other world. وَإِنَّ مِن تَمَامِ الْوَفَاءِ. But how can you fulfill this promise, this covenant? بِالْعَهْدِ وَالْحُسْنِ الْأَدَاءِ زِيَارَةَ قُبُورِهِمْ. The hadith says, Imam Raza says. But how can I fulfill this covenant that I have with the Imams? I visit them. I visit them. That's fulfilling the covenant that I had with the Imams. I'm going there and I don't even realize. And I say, you see people's hand rise and they say, Labbaik ya Hussein, Labbaik ya Hussein, Labbaik ya Hussein. Why? Because in the shrine of Imam Hussein, Labbaik means I'm here. I'm here, Imam Hussein. In other words, I'm fulfilling my promise to you. I swear I'll be loyal to you. I swear I'll be loyal to you. Because we've already made this inside of us already. So the other issue, the other effect of ziyarah, we said, one, it takes us towards God, and it has an incredible way that it takes us towards God, maybe not like anything else. 70 years of Hajj in the Hadith. How much close do you get from 70 years of Hajj? It'll take you 70 years of journey. It's a spiritual journey. You go forward 70 years. Again, as long as it's true and good. Because the Imam has gone to Mi'raj. I mean, the Prophet has gone to Mi'raj. The Imams have gone to the high position close to God. So they know how to take you towards Him. They were around the Arsh before coming down to this realm. So the first we said is that it'll take you the spiritual journey of ziyarah. Look at it as going forward super fast towards God. Super. Everyone says, where's a shortcut? One of the shortcuts is this. Go and do ziyarah correctly, appropriately, and you will feel that you have gone ahead. You will feel it yourself. Nowhere else can you have that feeling. If I ask you right now, get close to God. You try, close your eyes, get close to God. It's so hard sometimes. But right when you go inside the shrine and you're sitting next to the Imam, immediately without even trying, even if you had a rough day, a bad day, you're tired, you're traveling, it's hot, you don't even feel like worship, suddenly you start to cry. Suddenly your heart opens up and you feel something completely different. So this, one is the power of ziyarah. Two is the ahd and the covenant that we need to go all the time. We need to go if we can, all the time to renew this covenant with the imams that we have. Inshallah, we'll do ziyarah of all of them. Some people, they view the imams or ziyarah only to get things from them. And we'll end, inshallah. I see it's getting late. Some view ziyarat as only to get. I'm coming there to get this hajjah and that's it. I'm done, see you later. Until next time, some other problem happens. Is this a correct way to view ziyarat? Just to get something. We should go to the imams if we have something we need, because you're asking God in reality. We should go to them. But that's not the entire purpose. The entire purpose is not to go. Sometimes the imams will actually not even give to their special friends. Sometimes they'll go and they want something in this world and they won't give it to them. There's a story of Allama Amini. Who here has heard of him? Allama Amini, Sahib al-Qadir, the book. You've heard of Allama Amini, one person. This was say Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Brother, sister, Allama Amini loved Imam Ali, truly loved him, and wrote the book Al-Qadir that gave life again to Shi'ism. He would go to other countries and they would ask him, today's was hot, for example. They'd go to tropical countries, humid countries, ask him, how was the weather like? What happened there? And he would say, I don't know. Because he was looking for one book that had one hadith for Imam Ali to take it and to put it in his book. He was so busy with his mission. He loved Imam Ali so much. It is said that he went to the shrine of Imam Ali in Najaf. And he goes there, and he has been going repetitively to get his hajjah, to get a need that he had. Repetitively, he's been going and going, and he doesn't get it, even though his whole life was finding narrations to defend Imam Ali. One person comes without the mannerisms, without the izn dukhul, comes in there, Ya Abul Ghawth, and brings his child, and his child was paralyzed, and says, help him. And it says he narrates that as if a spirit goes into the body of this child. And the child begins to walk. And the child begins to run. And people take clothes, articles of clothing from this child. And it's a miracle. These things I'm talking about, there is books in the shrine of Imam Rida, records. When a miracle is performed, they have archives of at what time, what happened. They have lists of miracles from the shrines of Imam Rida, of others. And so many stories I have heard, people have seen, that there's no doubt about it. So then Allama Amini gets sad. He's not sad for the kid, obviously. He's sad for himself. He says that, look, this Bedouin Arab that didn't have much, say, education, he comes in a rude way, I can even say, in almost a rude way, talks to the Imam and gets his hajjah and need. I have been studying my entire life. Smoke from the candlelight has been hitting my face. I shouldn't have even studied, he tells Imam Ali. Why did I even study? I should have been a Bedouin and not studied and become a sheikh. I should have just come like him and been like him. They say he has a dream that Imam Ali alayhi salam, and I'm just paraphrasing, tells him that you are of us, you are close to us. If we give to others, it's because if we don't give them and grant them their need, then they're going to be led astray. They're going to lose their faith. But you are of us, God likes when someone cries all the time and speaks to him. The Imams like it when someone comes to their shrine and is crying. You're of us, we like it. We like the fact that you're coming to us and asking. We like that. And it is good. In reality, it's good for you. So to change this mentality that you only go to the shrine, yes, if we have problems and issues, yes, of course, go. Inshallah, you get your hawaj. Come to the majlis of Imam Hussein, you get your hawaj. But unfortunately, because there are so many karamat and miracles in the shrines, people just go for that. But the real reason we said is that taqarrub, that 70 years of hajj, that if somebody lives it, he'll excel and go forward. The last thing that I'll mention about ziyarat, inshallah we'll do the musibah, is wilayat of Ahlul Bayt needs to be shown for us. It needs to be part of our lifestyle. How can we hide our love for Ahlul Bayt? We need to show people Islam is a religion that you show. Not only are you sincere and you have sometimes private talk with God, but our acts of worship are actually in congregation to show in numbers. Our qibla is one qibla. And when we make dua, we're told to make dua together. If four people, some of the hadith says, come together and ask for something, Allah will answer. Four people. So we're recommended for us to be together to show ourselves. Why? Because our lifestyle is an Islamic lifestyle. To show others the way we live. Our sisters cannot hide the fact they're Muslim because they have hijab. Hijab is an expression of our lifestyle. Lifestyle is what? What you wear, what you eat, what you talk, what you believe in. It is an expression of us, our identity. So when you go to ziyarat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, in reality what is happening is that you are showing your love to the entire world. That I love Imam Hussein alayhi salam. 20 million people will be soon going to Arba'in, showing that they love Imam Hussein. How many people are sacrificing and giving from their own money, income that they have to the zawar of Imam Hussein? Being super kind to them, being super generous to them. So it's an expression where it's a display, it's something that is very powerful when you go to ziyarah. And the last thing is that yes, ziyarat can also be done from afar. So this entire speech I said to connect to the Imam, you need to also do ziyarat, and is one of the best ways to connect to Imam Zaman. You can do it from far. We just read Ziyarat Ashura, it's fine. Because the Imams are not bound to a certain place. The Imams are not bound to a certain time. They're boundless. They're timeless. So this is one of the best ways to know the Imam of the age, is by making ziyarah, and that is why it is so important for us. Many times after salat, we do ziyarat, we do majalis, we do ziyarah. Because the effect it has in our way we meet God, the effect that it has in renewing our bayat and allegiance, the effect that it gives us in terms of our lifestyle and display of love, and hopefully that, inshallah, this will be accepted from us from afar. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa if we can dim the lights. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. Why is it so sad to talk about the musibat and calamity that falls upon children in Karbala? Some can say that because a child cannot defend themselves, his or herself. If somebody pushes one of the daughters of Imam Hussein, if a big soldier with armor that has been in battles comes and pushes the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, she cannot defend herself. She'll fall on the ground. She cannot do anything back. When children are hit, The damage that is inflicted to their delicate skin is much different than an adult. When someone hits and smacks some of the family members of Imam Hussein, one place of their face will get red. But when they hit Ruqayya, the daughter of Imam Hussein, a 3-year-old daughter of Imam Hussein, one large hand will hit her and both cheeks will become red. Usually it is normal for a person when they see children present, they're very careful. When Imam Hussein had Hamida, the daughter of Muslim ibn Aqil, and wanted to tell the daughter of Muslim ibn Aqil that your father has become martyred, he slowly took her, put her on his lap, and said that from now on I am your father. He told Hamida, the daughter of Muslim. How come no one did this to the daughter of Imam Hussein? How come no one cared for the daughters and the children of Karbala? One of the saddest parts, they say, in the Maqtal and the story of Imam Hussein, they say, what is one of the saddest parts? They say is when this happened, when the children of Imam Hussein were looking at the heads on the spears. They would see, for example, the head of Imam Hussein. They saw the head of Hazrat Ali Akbar. They saw the head of Hazrat Abbas. And these children were chasing these spears and chasing these heads. Lady Zainab, she knew that Lady Ruqayya cannot bear this. When she was speaking in Kufa, immediately they showed her the head of Imam Hussein. She began to stop her speech and mention this poetry that as if I would never know that this would have been written for me. I'm paraphrasing. Basically, that your head is on a spear and I am here. But then he says, but your daughter Fatima Saqir kallimha. But your daughter Fatima Saqir. Some say this Fatima Saqir is Ruqayya. Ruqayya, speak to her. It's as if she is melting away. Speak to Ruqayya. I am your sister Zainab. It is very difficult for me, beloved Hussein, to see your head on top of the spear. But your daughter is only 3 years old. Is only 3 years old. How is a 3-year-old going to be able to cope with the loss of her father? Finally, they bring the head of Imam Hussein to Lady Ruqayya in Sham. After being paraded like slaves in Syria, after crying for father, daddy, daddy in Sham, crying for her father, crying for her father. I wonder, after she got the head of Imam Hussein, they brought her the head, what she said to Imam Hussein. I'm wondering if she said this, Father, she's a child, she doesn't know. Father, I thought you didn't want to talk to me, as if she says this. Father, I thought you didn't want to talk to me. How come it's been days and I haven't seen you? Where have you gone, Father? Father, I didn't understand why you left. Father, but you came back to me now. But I have a question for you, Father. May your Ruqayya be sacrificed for you. How come on top of your eyebrow there's a bruise on your forehead? How come your forehead is bruised, Father? I don't know. Father, I ask you, did you cry a lot that your face is full of bruises now, Father? Father, look at my clothes. It's torn into pieces. I don't have clothes. It's torn into pieces, Father. Father, when you came here, know that many nights I have slept hungry, Father. Father, whenever you came, you would bring me bread, you would bring me food. Did you bring me food this time, Father? Many times I was sleeping hungry. Ya Abata man alladhi aytamani ala sighar asni, Father, who has made me an orphan? Your tiny Ruqayya now has aged. She has aged. This 3 year old, has anyone seen a 3 or 4 year old that has aged? As if she is saying, but Father, I have become similar to like your mother. Your mother that was smacked and hit in Medina, now I feel what she has felt. Because I have been hit and smacked like your mother as Zahra. Ya Allah, because of the purity of this tiny Ruqayya, this little daughter of Imam Hussein, that soon after this, holding this, they say that her spirit leaves her body. And later Ruqayya dies and passes away in Sham, in the dungeons of Sham, and becomes a sign of the Madlumiyat and oppression of Imam Hussein in Sham. May Allah give us the ziyarat of Lady Ruqayya in Sham, inshallah. May because of the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Allah give us shafa'at of Imam Hussein in the dunya and akhirah. Ya Allah, because of Lady Ruqayya, I know people, they have children that are sick. It's difficult to see a child that's sick. One of my friends, he mentioned that he had a father, that he was a pediatrician. He says, I cannot take it anymore. He changed after studying. He says, I cannot see sick children anymore. Ya Allah, all the children that are sick in this world, all children that are hungry, all the children that are suffering, all the children that are orphans, because of Lady Ruqayya, inshallah, grant them their hawa'ij and protect them, inshallah, and cure them. Ya, we ask Allah, we ask you, our children that are growing up here, make all of them lovers of Imam Hussein, inshallah. Keep them under the wilayat of Hussein ibn Ali and his father Ali ibn Abi Talib and his grandfather Rasulullah, inshallah. Ya Allah, allow our school that started last week to become successful, inshallah, and our children to be learning Islam and educated and having tarbiyat of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, inshallah. Ya Allah, expedite the return of our Imam